Hey, what's up, everybody? Kendall here. Welcome back to Double Dare Your Money by the Wealthy Legacy Journey, and I'm super excited to share with you guys the first purchases of Double Dare Your Money. This is so exciting. I want to show you guys. Don't forget to keep a record because all of this stuff, you want to be honest with yourself, and so all this has to be auditable. I don't know why I said it so pronouncedly, but it has to be audited. It has to be auditable. And so I want to show you guys here. I wrote all this out. So we had our initial deposit, and by the way, this is the ledger sheet that can be found on the Wealthy Legacy Journey resources Google Doc or eventually on the website. And the link for that's going to be at the top of the description. So make sure you go check that out. And that's going to just go scroll through there. It's on the Robert Kiyosaki book as well as the Cash Flow board game because that's what I initially created this for. Was for the board game, but I'm also going to be using it in real life just to show how real that game can be. Because we're doing it right here. So on December 2023, there it is. We had our first video. We put our initial deposit in, and I deposited $74.58 into my little envelope here. And as you guys can see, I don't have $74.58 anymore, which is a good thing, because having too much cash on hand means that my money isn't working for me. So I have at this point $1 and $1 and some change left. If you can see that there, that's literally all the cash that I left. I have $1, 75, 85, 86, 87. I have $1.87. I should have, yep. My ledger says it agrees. I was like, I probably should have counted that off camera to make sure that everything, all the ducks were in a row first. But anyways, so I have my why reason tucked in here. You know what? I think this would be a great time for all of us to review our why reason. And you should have a why reason in your envelope. And so my why reason, your why reason doesn't have to be my why reason. In fact, it probably won't be. My why reason is I want everyone to understand that the only thing holding them back from financial freedom is their decisions, their actions, and their choices. I want people to see and understand that they have the opportunity right here, right now to obtain financial freedom. And I signed Kendall Lyden. And so that is my why reason. And probably I'm thinking this will be a good tradition to read the why reason every time we come to do an update episode. And so here we, and I actually have my receipt here. And I want to kind of make a note of a blip that happened here. I actually overspent. Oops. But it's okay because I righted the error. I just forgot about tax when I was collecting everything. And so the house, us personally, our family bought one of the little mugs for $3.29 back to put me under because I actually spent $76, only had $74.58. So we bought one of the mugs back. I didn't decrease the taxes or anything like that, and so that put me at 72.71 just by taking out the one mug. Didn't think about what the tax would be for that. I just was like, you know what, just a clean math. $74 or $72.71 is what we spent. We bought 4 plates, 10 cups, and 1 colander. And so let me show you guys what we actually got here. So this is the colander. If you guys are wanting a beautiful, cool looking colander, my wife actually was a little bit jelly that got this to sell. But this thing right here, bought that bad boy for $5.49. It should be able to sell for 25 bucks. So I'm super excited about that. Then we also got these plates here. And these are an interesting looking place. Not really my style, but Libby really liked them. Bought these for $6.99, and these plates should be able to sell for about 15 a piece. And we've got 4 of these. So there's a set of 4 dinner plates. They've got this nice stamp on the back. They're really clean. They look good. And so we should be able to double our money on the plates. I think we'll probably probably about 4x, maybe 5x our money on the colander there. Probably not quite 5x, but about 4x would be reasonable. Another thing that we got is we got these mugs here. And again, not 100% my style, but you know, they're selling good. This thing is worth like $25 a mug out there on Etsy. And so I bought that bad boy for $3.29. So that's going to be like 6xing our money right there, which is super exciting. And again, don't forget the way we can calculate this is we do V final minus V initial, the value final minus the value initial divided by the value initial. So here we have, what do we think this is worth? We think that this cup right here is worth, what did I say? It was like 20. So 20 minus 329. Oops, I did 329. 20 minus $3.29 is $16.71 divided by $3.29. That would be a 507% ROI if we sold that cup for $20. Actually be 507.9, so almost 508% ROI, which is really cool. A little over 5xing our money. So that is another great find. And then we got these other little cups. These were also $3.29, and a set of these cups. Let's see if we got a second one here. A set of these cups is selling for I think it was $22 for a set. It was $22 for 2 cups. These cups we also bought for $3.29. And so if you think about it, each cup's worth about $11. So that's going to be a little over like a 3x return on our money, a little over 300%. Again, we can just do that math here. If I were to say, okay, well, each of these cups is worth 11. 11 minus $3.29 is $7.71 divided by 3.29 is wait. Okay, yeah. So to be that's okay. My brain had to think about that. It's 234%, but we'll also get our initial investment back out of it. And so I was like, wait, what? It should be a little over 3xing, but we have a 234% ROI, and then don't forget inside of that ROI calculation, we actually do get our initial investment back. So obviously, like when we sell this for $11, we're going to get our initial $3.29 back, but then we made $7.71 in profit over and above what we spent. And so that's what our ROI number is calculating, is the profit we got back, not accounting for obviously getting the money back that we spent. So we'll have these sets and they'll sell like that. So nothing huge. If you watch this week's the episode that I published of the Wealthy Legacy Journey, you'll see a lot of this stuff will be repeat. But what I really hope you guys start to see, and again, really see as the journey goes on, is you might look at this and go, well, that's like $74 and 58 cents. And if you look at that, we think, okay, we're gonna make $11 per these flowery cups, and on the flowery cups we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 11 times 8, plus we have 2 of the other cups that'll go for about $20 a piece. So plus 20 plus 20. So for the cups we'll be at like 128. For the colander we'll be at about 20, and then for the plates we'll be at about $15 a plate times 4 is 60. So that's about $208. We spent $72. What was it? $72.71. And so if you look at this, you have 208. I want you guys to really focus on the ROI number, because if you look at this as V final minus V initial, so for V final is 208 minus $72.71. That's $135. Now, what I want to recognize is even people that are working apart, like even if you're like working, almost minimum wage, you'll be able to make $135 in maybe a day or two. I guess there's taxes and stuff, but roughly somewhere in that, ballpark, like a day or two, I think. And so no, $135 is not a ton of money. But here's what I want you guys to see is, then let's take that $135.29 and divide it by $72.71. That is a 186% return on investment. If you count, so we are almost tripling our money. Once you account for, the costs, we're literally have 1.86 times more money than we had before. And so in that case, if you were like starting from, anyways, I don't want to go into all the math, but my point being, I want to show you guys what this would look like in different scenarios. So this is with just a little bit of dishes. And in my mind, I'm going, okay, well, if we can get consistently to a place where we're able to, we have enough cash, you could turn this like little operation right here into its own little side hustle, its own little business, right? Where every week or maybe twice a week, you're going to thrift stores, you're spending money, and you're turning your money around. And even on this stuff here, Libby said that we got a good deal. We didn't get great deals. And she said we could actually look and be able to find much better deals as time goes on. And so we're going to be looking for better and better deals. And one of the things actually that we talked about last night, because this is what we did on our date. And then we went and we grabbed a burger afterwards. And we were talking and we said, we should be able to take we were talking about like what it is that we want to focus on, and Libby really likes the Pinterest dishes and stuff. And so I said, as anybody who studies business has ever heard before, there's a saying of the riches are in the niches. And so it's how do we get focused in, how do we niche down and see where is our skill set. And like right now I can see in this box, this is all kitchenware. So then I told Libby, I said, maybe for us in our shops that we're putting together, our specialty is in dishware. And that's what we focus on because that's what we know. Libby and I don't really know like trends as far as clothes and shoes and all that kind of stuff. But Libby really knows what's trending on Pinterest for dishes because that's what she enjoys. So it's like, okay, maybe that's our niche where we can really focus in and really get a good return on investment. And so, anyways, with all that said, though, this same thing can happen at a tax sale. This same type of deal, except for it's bigger numbers. Instead of $74.58, you might go spend, $5,000 in order to have a return of 10 to 15 grand. And the thing is that, here we're able to instantly buy it, instantly list it. My hope is that we're able to sell all the stuff within, a couple weeks. With a tax sale, you go in, you might have to wait for them to get you the deed after the tax sale. So that might take 1, 2, 3 months, and then you list it, and that's sell process might take 1, 2, 3 months. So it's taking you a couple months, somewhere between probably like 3 to 6 months on average to flip your money over. And the ROI might not be quite as strong, but you're going to have a higher amount of cash. Then you could work your way up. Another thing that I've done is flipping houses. And so if we took an example of a house that was worth like $250,000, and let's say that it needed about 30, let's say it needed about $35,000 worth of work. And so let's just say that we bought it for 150,000. So we said, hey, we bought it for 150,000. Plus it's going to, or let's say we sell it for 250,000. Let's say that we've got, about 8% between closing costs and all that kind of stuff. So 250,000 times 0.92. Because it's all fixed up and beautiful. So hopefully nothing comes up on the inspection report. So that puts us at 230 minus we bought it for 150. Oops. Minus 150,000. So that puts us at 80,000. And then let's just say for kicks and grins in that one, we actually put like 40,000 into it. So then you turn out with a profit of 40,000. That's actually a really decent profit margin on a flip, especially for a house that's at that price point. And so I don't know if we'd quite get that deal. Sometimes we might. Sometimes it would not be as good as this. So then you look at a deal like that and you go, okay, well, we made 40,000. The amount of money that we put into that deal was 150,000 to purchase, and as well as $40,000 in the rehab, so $190,000. And so, yeah, and then you can, from there be able to extrapolate what your return on investment would be. But if we put like almost $200,000 into it and we made, a $40,000 return, well, $40,000 cash sounds awesome, right? But on the flip side of that is you're only making like a 20% ROI. Whereas on these dishes, we're making 186% ROI. And so it's like, oh, there's that, you're making a way, way better ROI on these dishes, but you're making a lot more cash on that deal right there. And so this is where people get burned, is because they don't really have the mindset down for investments. They go try to do a big deal because they see the cash, they get the shiny object syndrome of the amount of cash, not looking at, hey, you got to be careful because you might not be giving yourself much margin to work with. There might not be much margin of error. And the tighter the margin of error, the more sophisticated, the more educated you need to be as an investor on that particular type of investment. I know land. I don't know all sorts of land, but I know specific lands, especially in the DFW area, especially in the South DFW, like Johnson County, Ellis County. Um, the names are eluding me all of a sudden. Palo Pinto County. Anyways, Hood County. No, I don't think it's Hood. Anyways, I'm not gonna go into all of them, but all these like kind of southern counties over here, kind of southwestern counties. I know these counties, and I know some of our development rules, and this is really where I'm starting to grow more and more understanding. And so I can operate on a tighter margin of error. I don't prefer to because I like bigger ROIs, but I have the ability to more comfortably and confidently operate on tinier margins of error because I understand what I'm looking at. As we do these dishes more and more, we're going to get better and better at just knowing what our margins will be on these dishes without having to go do a bunch of due diligence. Because, like, every time we grab one of these dishes, we literally look at the bottom and go, okay, that's Corning, flower cup, and so we'd be googling it trying to find somebody else who's selling something similar. And the thing that you want to remember, and this is the same in real estate, is the price at which this is worth isn't what somebody has it listed for. That's the price what people want. But what the price that it's actually selling for is the price at which it was purchased. And so we actually were specifically looking for Etsy shops where it said, like, so many were sold or so many people had this in their carts. And so that way we could see that, okay, that's at a price point right there where people are actually engaging with that item and they're actually purchasing it. And so that's definitely something to keep in mind. We talk about that in real estate all the time when you're comping something. Like, what people have listed different properties for isn't necessarily what it's worth. It's just what people are asking. The close price, now that is what the property is worth, because that's what people are willing to pay. That's what buyers are willing to pay. And in this case, I was willing to pay $3.29. So that was the true value of this cup. I would have preferred to pay less. And in the future, I might not be willing to pay this if I can find better ROIs elsewhere. Somebody else might be willing to, but I might not be willing to. Like Libby even said, she's like, you're getting a good deal, not a great deal. She didn't love how much we were paying for these. She said she would have rather pay for something like this, like 99 cents. So, neither here nor there. You just get better. You get to know what it is that you're looking at and what your return is going to be on this different type of stuff. And so, and then with like a land example, we've got a deal right now in Alvarado. It's 13 acres. And we bought that deal for about $350,000. We're putting about $30,000 into it. And so our all-in costs are about $380,000. We're going to be able to sell all these, if you count for all 6 lots, in the end, once we have them all subdivided, utilities approved, all that kind of stuff, it's going to be worth like 750,000 ish. So if we just take off 10%, that puts us at 675. But let's just take off 100 from that for easy math. So it puts us at 650 for a little bit of margin of error. Let's say that we put 400 into it to give us a little bit more margin of error on that side. So that gives us like a $50,000 buffer in case we get like low offers or something like that. So that means that we're looking at all-in cost of 400. We're actually going to be able to receive somewhere around like 650. And so, our return on that will be 350,000. So we're almost doubling our money. But that one's actually a larger JV deal where I'm not putting any of my capital in. And so for me, it's work, but it's not capital. But because I know the counties, it's not actually been a whole bunch of work. And so my return on investment is huge. Even if I were to count the value of my time in the grand scheme of things, I might put 40 hours of work into this deal. And so, even if I were to go, okay, let's just say for a round number, $100,000 was a year is what I value my money at. Let's say that I work 52 weeks a year, and let's say that and that's $1,923.08. And then let's just say I work 40 hours a week. So my value of my time would be like $48, 48 and like 8 cents, $48.08. It's actually 0.0769231. But anyways, then let's just say I put 40 hours into this. So for me, I put, as far as like my value of my time, what I would be able to value my time at right now just for a job, $1,923 and 8 cents. is what I'm putting into this like time wise right now. But then my portion of the JV, and I'm going to receive about a third out of this deal structure, the way that we've structured it, for doing all the work on that. If we make 350, I might be able to turn around and make $115,000 on almost $2,000 of time invested, $0 invested. But that's a deal that it's taken me years to be able to work my way up to. And I actually was the one who found the deal. I brought it to the table, negotiated the deal. I've done the development on the deal, and for me, that was like, that's why I've been able to get to the point where I'm able to build capital quickly. But the huge reason for doing Double Dare Your Money, and what I hope that you're getting in this whole grand scheme of things, is I hope you're not immediately looking at that and going like, ooh, $150,000 deal. There's gonna be a lot of taxes to be paid, and it might not work out perfect. But even at that, it's a big deal. I get that. But what I hope that you see is it's the same skill sets that I'm using to purchase dishes low and sell them high for capital gains, but also the due diligence process in these dishes of looking at them and knowing what they're worth, and just the slow and steady process of building up the churn here to be able to go to the next level and the next level, right? Because even in our story that I just told there, we went from a box of dishes, it's worth $72, to tax sales that can range anywhere from, I've seen them go sell as cheap as $100, and I've seen them sell for I've seen land sell for millions of dollars. So really, land is a huge spectrum there. So I don't really want to put a price tag on that necessarily. And then you go to houses that are the same way. I've seen them sell for really, really cheap. I couldn't even begin to tell you what the cheapest house is that I've ever bought. I couldn't remember. But you can have them, on the cheap end, all the way up to obviously multi-million-dollar homes, depending on, what your skill set is and what you do. Same with like larger land development. There's all sorts of types of land development. Me personally, the land development that I know really well is either it's out of city limits actually entirely, either in the county or in the ETJ, and it has road frontage. And so I've gotten really good at figuring out, here's what the county needs, and here's what it looks like, and here's how I get my approvals on utilities and all that kind of stuff. And so that's where I'm like really niched in. Will my skill sets grow? Hopefully, probably. But that's the lane that I know and that I'm growing in right now. And so all of these different things, all the skill sets that you practice here at the bottom, they're going to translate up. Okay. And so that's what I really want you to remember and understand and see as we're going through this journey. So right now, we're on the journey from 0 to 1,000. But that doesn't mean we're just going to go to 1,000 and stop. Once we hit 1,000, we're going to jump from 1,000 to 10,000. And then once we hit 10,000, then we're going to be doubling our money, because we're really doubling our money. Our goal is to double up to that next level. Because at those level points, in my mind, is like, okay, that's where the game kind of changes. So from 0 to 1,000, you're just learning, you're building your first process ever. By the time you hit $1,000, you probably got a groove going. You have a groove going of like, here's where I shop, here's what deals I'm looking for, here's what I like to buy, here's what sells well on my Etsy and eBay shop, here's about the timeline that I'm looking at for selling, here's what the average ROI is. You're starting to have a groove, right? And then you just get that thing churning and churning and churning until it's really producing some actual income for you, and not income that you're spending, right? Because everything that we're trying to do inside of this is just building an investment ladder, an investment funnel. We're just pumping money back into this thing. So it's literally money out, and that all the money that comes out is just going straight back in at this time. If you start pulling money out, it's going to significantly slow down what you're doing because of the power of compounding. So I would highly recommend, for a few stages of this process, do not pull money out of this, at least until you start getting to the point of like, hey, maybe I don't have my job anymore, but you need to be making much more than you make at your job. You need to be making that consistently. You need to have a track record. Like, we're not even close to that point yet. So for right now, I just think everything is going to go back into the system. And that's going to get you your greatest compounding effect. For some of you guys, once we get, the everything kind of going, I'm not going to be doing capital injections, but even over and above 100% of everything going back into the system, I'd recommend you guys take whatever extra capital that you can find, extra money, and inject it into the system. And you're like, hey, I've gotten really good at these buys. I'm just going to keep buying as much as I can of this stuff and keep listing it because I've got a really good thing going. I'm churning this out like crazy. So all that's to be said is this was a really successful purchase. I'm really excited about some of the stuff that we've picked up. And I know that we are going to have a fruitful return. So make sure that you guys, if you've done your first purchase, that you've filled out and you've really make sure that you're cross-referencing your receipt. Keep your receipts because this has to be auditable. Make sure that you're filling out your ledger sheet, which can be found on the Wealthy Legacy Journey Resources Google Doc. You can print this out for free, and make sure you're filling this out. Make sure that you have your why reason, and excuse me, make sure that once you have all your stuff purchased, it doesn't just sit in your closet and collect dust. Get it out there, get it listed. Next time I will have the name of our store for you guys, so anybody who wants to visit can go visit it. And man, I'll tell you what, if you're watching this video on YouTube, if you're on the Spotify podcast, I'd love it if you just drop the name of your store into the chat below. It'd be really cool to keep up with other people's stores and what they're creating and what they're putting inside of their stores and even what their why reason is. I'd love to hear, like, what is your why reason? What are you growing? Why are you growing? And just to feel like I'm not talking to an empty camera, but I know that there's people who are doing this journey with me that have a specific why reason of why they're doing it or what they're passionate about listing in the shop, or just to see the journey as it goes would be really exciting. So anyways, that is the first purchase on Double Dare Your Money. There's my little investment fund right there. Double Dare Your Money. We're going to start small, we're going to go big. And so anyways, with all that said, it was awesome seeing you guys on this episode of Double Dare Your Money, hosted by the Wealthy Legacy Journey, tied to the Wealthy Legacy. I don't know how it works. I run the Wealthy Legacy Journey, and then I had this idea for Double Dare Your Money, and it's kind of all tied together. But anyway, somehow they're tied together. It was awesome hanging out with you guys, and I will see you guys on the next episode, hopefully when we have some sales on Double Dare Your Money. Bye, y'all.